If you would, bow your heads with me. Dear God, as we come before you, we're thankful for this day and your many blessings, and thankful, Lord, that we woke up this morning to see the light of another day. We ask you, God, just now that you take control of this meeting, that you instill in our minds and our hearts what would be the best to serve the people of Pike County. Ask your blessings upon all of our soldiers on foreign soil, dear Lord, that you would touch them and be with them and wrap your loving arms around them and bring them safely back home. We ask all this in the name of Jesus Christ and for his sake, and amen.
Meeting come to order. Roll call.
Judge Diskins?
Yes.
Magistrate Anderson?
Here.
Magistrate Kempton?
Here.
Magistrate Murphy?
Here.
Magistrate Robinson?
Here.
Magistrate Dodson?
Here.
Magistrate Barney?
Here.
All right. Leo, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and
to the republic
for which it
stands,
one
nation,
under
God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Approval of minutes of October the 2nd, 2018.
Motion.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Kempton?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy?
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Barney?
Yes.
Judge Diskins?
Yes. All right. Tony Tackett, would you come to the podium?
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, magistrates. I want to thank you once again for being able to be in front of you. I wanted to not only give you a little bit of update, but first I wanted to thank you as our county government. This past 2 weeks has been hectic on tourism. Tourism is in full mode of fall foliage and fall visitors, but our Hatfield and McCoy Heritage Day homecoming was successful on behalf of Pike County Tourism. Bob Scott, the property owner of the McCoy well site, and the hog trial site, all of our sites are ready and available for tours. But not only that, they're in great standing, and it's on behalf of our office. We thank you for that. We couldn't ask any better from our Pike County pride that keeps that property and all the lot over in Hardy clean, and then Paul and his men that contain all of it and keep it up to date. Just wanted to update you on a few little things between now and your next meeting. This coming Thursday, we have another motor coach coming in. It is our 18th motor coach of the season. And then November the 11th, 12th, and 13th is the Kentucky Baptist Convention that is being held right here in Pikeville, Pike County. On that Sunday, the 11th, I believe, we're looking at somewhere around 4,200 people attending. So we're looking at that. And then, of course, January the 24th, 25th, 26th, and 27th, Kentucky has 3,600 visitors that will be visiting from around the world. The American Bus Association's annual convention, it's their 93rd year, I believe, will be holding their conference convention in Kentucky and Louisville. Saying that, you have FAM tours. FAM tours are familiar tours. Those tours are where those owner-operators are showcased the area, and they're also anything new that's available to them. And at this moment, we have a full coach that will be lodging with us for 2 of those days, and we'll be showcasing Pikeville, Pike County, and Eastern Kentucky. But those are some things that I wanted to bring you up to date and let you know. Also, of course, the hog trial side is open to visitors, but not only that, that committee will be having some festive things happening in November and December with the doors opened, and are working with several churches in that community to make sure we have some sing-alongs and some things available for an old-fashioned Christmas. Other than that, that's what I have. I would like to see us with some signage on Main Street welcoming the Baptist Convention. I would like for us to have a few signs in the front of the courthouse, outside, and maybe a few things on the fence of the expo. I'm going to get with Jeannie about that this week and see what we can get done. But it's our way of when visitors are visiting that we're open and that they are aware that we're welcoming them. So there's a couple projects we have. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Tony and buses sound good, but we got an event this weekend, and we don't have any interest from anybody hardly to put it on. It's a fun day adventure over on the Tug River.
Yes.
And we had it planned for bicycles and canoes and four-wheelers all at one time. But we don't have any interest from anybody to promote this other than Jim Bevins. You know, he's putting it out there. And, you know, I just wonder where we're going after a few months with our tourism. These buses are good. You know, they make money for the vendors and the motels, but, you know, we got people out on the county end of it. It's got a lot of things over there that people need to try to promote and do something for.
Well, our office does promote that, but when you say you're not finding any interest, what are you saying?
In putting this thing on, you know, Paul Williamson, our guy, he come through last time and worked awful hard over there at the last event we had, but we had only him and one or two more that was there to help. We try to do a little food and things for the people that rode. But, you know, if the county don't want to do it, then maybe we need to forget about it, because we worked hard on this thing and we need it promoted, and people jump in and do some things that need to be done. It's hard for one man to do it.
I agree with you 100%, but you have to survey why people are not getting involved. That's what you got to survey. People are wanting to do things, Hillman. People are working every day, 7 days a week to do stuff. But why are not people getting involved?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you today, you know, where are we going with this?
Well, we are here to market every feasible project in Pike County, and we do that very well. If people don't show up for events, we have to research why they don't, for whatever reason. Now, that's what I would tell you to do, is research why. Why can't you get volunteers on those projects? Why can't you get people out to those projects? And why are people ignoring those projects? It's simple math. It's simple math.
I guess people just don't want it.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I believe people want it.
Well, we meet every month here at the courthouse, and we don't have 8 or 10 people show up. And we were going real good with the trail system, and then it seemed like it just stopped.
Well, did you notice that in Gilbert they are marketing Pikeville, Pike County roadways and trailways? Have you seen that?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we're seeing it happen at Gilbert. Why don't it happen here in Pike County? I don't know.
I have my thoughts.
What are they?
Diligently, you got to have a heart for it, and you got to remember that your opinion does not matter. In my job, my opinion does not matter. My workforce matters. So you go out every day diligently, 6, 7 days a week, and you work for a better life for our community. And if you don't have that human being there working that, then you're not going to get people on board. You know that? I know that. Are the people you have working doing it for the diligent work, or are they doing it for themselves? That's what you got to look at. Now, if you talk about success, I will tell you, motor coaches bring 20 to 25 to 30,000 in 3 nights lodging in Pike County. I hit mom and pops. I don't go to the franchise stores. I don't go to the franchise restaurants. They eat in our home territory by people who are entrepreneurs. That's what we do. And we do it every day, 7 days a week. Now, saying that, if you have problems with an event, That's one thing. If you have problems with multiple events, that's saying another. You have to research and look at yourself and what you're doing. That's what I do every day. And I know this fiscal court works hard. I know that.
Anything else?
No, that's all I have. Thank you, Tony.
You're welcome.
So I guess, Tony, the answer is after this court's gone, maybe the new court will be able to promote and do something to help the county grow, right?
No, not at all. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you are moving forward. Do you have the right person to help you move forward? It's that simple. It's that simple. We've talked about it. We've discussed it. It's that simple. Do you have somebody out there every day working to partner, pull people in, or do they pull people out? It's that simple. Are we working for a better tomorrow? Is everybody working in the same card table, and do they have a deck of hands there that they know is diligent? That's all you got to work with.
Well, I know we paid Jimmy Bevins, and it seemed like he's out there trying to do what he think he can do. And then there's a lady in here, a few last court meeting, I believe, had a bunch of maps, but she didn't come to the last trail meeting we had, and, you know, we were waiting to see what she had to offer.
Well, number one, she didn't come here with me. She was here when I got here.
I know you stayed till she left, so I thought y'all were together.
No, sir, no. No, I have an office to run right over in Hamley. It's all about partnership, Hillman. It's all about partnership, and it's about a better tomorrow. It's that simple. If we work together, a high tide raises all. We have pulled our pants legs up long enough and waded through the water. Now, what are we doing with it? What are we doing with it? We have clean streams. We have a wonderful pride board that works diligently to make sure our area and our county is clean. We have wonderful governmental people who absolutely are a workforce for us, but are we getting the work done? And once again, it is partnership. You work with people, you reach out to people, you communicate with people, and you return your phone calls and your emails. It is that simple.
Tony, I might be the problem. So, you know, I've been butting my head up against the wall here for several years trying to get this thing going. So I'm just going to back out and let somebody else take over. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you. All right, adoption of a resolution urging Congress to pass legislation in 2018 to assist retired, disabled, and laid-off coal miners, their families, and communities. Herbie, would you explain?
Judge, there's a copy of the resolution in your file if everyone wants to look at it. I would move that we accept the resolution and support it. This has been going on for a long time. The bankruptcy of coal companies and the collapse of the coal industry, especially some of the companies that had 401ks and everything, and it's come down to the coal miners. A lot of them have lost their health care. A lot of them have lost their pensions. And this is requesting that our senators and representatives support certain bills that will help these people. Last session of the Congress, I think the health benefits were dealt with, but the pension benefits were not dealt with, and there's other things that need to be dealt with. And at this time, I'd ask Taylor Adams to come forward and discuss this resolution more, and then ask the county attorney, if he would, to read it in full.
While she's coming, Herbie, I would like to be in the next coal miner and stuff. Anything that I can do and this fiscal court can do to help the coal mining and the coal mining people in Pike County and stuff, I think we're not even going to waver. We're all for that. we're all going to support that and stuff. So, yes, reading over the resolution and stuff, I agree wholeheartedly with all of it.
Ms. Adams?
Hi there. Thank you for letting us come today to talk about this. My name's Taylor Adams. I work for an organization called Kentuckians for the Commonwealth, and we've been working in partnership with Appalachian Citizens Law Center over in Whitesburg and the Southeast Kentucky Black Lung Association for the last few months to bring awareness about this issue and let our local governments and our local courts know that this legislation is coming up. So basically what's happening right now is people who are paid out black lung disability benefits get those through a fund called the Black Lung Disability Trust Fund, and that fund is set to be, the funding for that is a tax on mined coal, and that's set to be cut in half at the end of this year. And so what we're trying to bring awareness for is we're trying to urge our local governments and our local courts to urge our Congresspeople to pass legislation supporting that tax to stay at its current rate. So not to increase the tax, but just to keep it what it has been. Because although this tax is going to be cut, it was set to be cut 10 years ago, thinking that rates of black lung would start decreasing, but actually rates of black lung are increasing, especially here in Central Appalachia. So that's why, so if the rate goes down and the number of people with black lung goes up, that fund is going to fall into insolvency. And minors and their families who receive benefits are going to stop receiving them. And that's really worrisome. These benefits aren't huge benefits paid out to people. It's $600 a month for a single person and some more for that. So that's what we're here to talk about. And then I was going to let Linda talk a little bit. She is here from the Southeast Kentucky Black Lung Association, and she has some personal experience in her family with black lung, so she was going to talk about it a little as well.
Thank you, Taylor. My name is Linda Adams, and I know Charlie Compton, Judge Deskins, and Herbie. Black lung is something that's very dear to me. Like Taylor said, it's $660.10 a month for one person, which ain't a lot of money, but when you take that from a coal miner, that's a lot of money. My husband died 5 years ago from black lung. 4 months ago, my nephew died from black lung. Both of these guys, my husband was 53 years old. He told me before he passed away, he said, do not give up on black lung, no matter what you do. I have dabbled in black lung for 18 years. I won federal black lung case, but for some reason the insurance company just don't want to pay up. We know what the problem is, it's the money. Anyway, I want to urge every one of you all to pass this resolution. There's so many widows with children. When my nephew died 4 months ago, he was 52 years old. He left 3 little children, a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 13-year-old. She needs the money to support these kids. It's not going to come out of any of her pocket. The money was allotted already for this black lung, like all the black lung funds are supposed to have been paid in when the coal miners worked. A lot of coal companies pocketed the money, shafted the miners. So the only thing I'm going to ask you today is to please do this. Every one of you, if you think back, there's somebody in your family that was a coal miner at some point and some time in their life, and it's going to happen again. I'm expecting several of my grandchildren go into the mines. But that's all I have to say today, and I really appreciate you for letting me talk. Thank you.
Thank you. If you all have any questions, just let us know. We'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you, ladies.
Remarks of them and county attorney, assistant county attorney, would you please read the resolution so it will be in the record?
Resolution of the Pike County Fiscal Court urging Congress to pass legislation in 2018 to assist retired, disabled, and laid-off coal miners, their families, and communities. Whereas Pike County is a community in eastern Kentucky, a state with many rich assets, including our land, water, heritage, and people who have, for more than 100 years, provided the coal that has fueled the United States. And whereas many Kentucky communities are experiencing economic distress with the decline of the coal industry and mining jobs, and whereas we believe a transition to a healthy, just, and stable, sustainable economy is possible, and that active leadership and investments are needed to generate meaningful jobs, protect and restore land and water, and ensure the well-being of workers, families, and communities, especially our miners who dedicated and risked their lives to work in the coal industry. And whereas black lung disease is an incurable, fatal, and entirely preventable disease caused by exposure to coal dust, and whereas rates of black lung disease are surging among coal miners, and 1 in 5 veteran working coal miners in central Appalachia now has black lung, and whereas thousands of coal miners with black lung disease and their dependents rely on benefits from the federal Black Lung Disability Trust Fund, including, in the fiscal year 2017, more than 4,326 Kentuckians who were paid $40.9 million across all federal black lung claims. And whereas the Black Lung Disability Trust Fund is in poor financial health due to a perfect storm of more miners with the disease and more coal companies in bankruptcy, and whereas the long-term solvency of the Black Lung Disability Trust Fund will be further weakened unless Congress acts this year to prevent a scheduled 50% decline in the excise fee that provides resources to this fund, and whereas the steps required for coal miners to acquire federal black lung benefits are currently difficult, and eligibility criteria should not be changed to make such processes more difficult, and whereas coal companies have a moral and legal responsibility to pay for their employees' health and disability costs associated with black lung disease, and the financial obligation to provide black lung benefits should not be shifted to taxpayers, and whereas federal legislation to maintain the black lung excise fee at its current level could also assist in the passage of the Reclaim Act, H.R. 1731, a bill sponsored by U.S. Representative Hal Rogers, Kentucky, the 5th District, to invest over the next 5 years $1 billion from the Federal Abandoned Mine Lands Trust Fund to fund reclamation and support economic development projects on abandoned mine lands in Kentucky and other affected states. And whereas an investment of at least $455,869,335 is needed to clean up identified but as yet unfunded abandoned coal mines in Kentucky, including projects costing at least $22,893,936 in Pike County. And whereas pensions promised to thousands of retired union miners and their families are at risk due to the 2008-2009 recession and coal company bankruptcies.
Are you done, Herbie? Okay.
Now, therefore, let it be resolved that the Pike County Fiscal Court urges U.S. Senator Mitch McConnell and Senator Rand Paul, along with U.S. Representatives James Comer of the Kentucky 1st District, Brett Guthrie, the Kentucky 2nd District, John Yarmouth of the Kentucky 3rd District, Thomas Massey of the Kentucky 4th District, Hal Rogers of the Kentucky 5th District, and Andy Barr of the Kentucky 6th District to support and vote for legislation in 2018 to assist retired, disabled, and laid-off coal miners, their families, and communities. In witness whereof we have hereunto set our hand this the 16th day of October, 2018.
All right.
Motion.
Yeah. And a second. And it's an important thing for the miners, and I need a motion to adopt, and you have, and need a roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Compton?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy?
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Varney?
Yes, yes, I'm gonna vote 2 times on that one.
Judge Deskins?
Yes. All right, acknowledge the receipt of the Pike County Conservation District 2018 tax rate. I need a motion to acknowledge.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson? Magistrate Compton?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy?
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Varney?
Yes.
Judge Deskins?
Yes. Acknowledgement receipt of the Pike County Extension District 2018 tax rate. I need a motion to acknowledge.
Motion.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Compton.
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy. Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Varney.
Before I vote, I do want to make a comment on some of these. We're just voting to acknowledge receipt of them. We had no input or anything about what this tax rate's going to be. And on the extension services, they did raise it. And I want the people to know that that's not this fiscal court raising your property tax. I want you to know who it is that's raising it, and it's going to be the Pike County Extension Services and the Pike County Library District. That's the two that is raising your taxes. Okay? When it comes out that your property tax is up, it's not this fiscal court. It's those two groups right there. Yeah. Yes.
Judge Deskins.
Yes. Acknowledgement receipt of the acknowledge the receipt of Pikeville Independent School 2018 tax rate. I need a motion to acknowledge.
Motion.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Compton.
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy.
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Varney.
And that's another one that's raised too. Yes.
Judge Deskins.
Yes.
Herbie, if we can't do anything about it, why is it even on here for us to acknowledge? We can't vote or we can't do anything on it.
We have to, by statute, we have to acknowledge that we've received the rates.
And they need to change the statute if you can't do anything about it. Why is it, you want to have to acknowledge something that you don't stand for?
Well, that's what since this is the governing body of Pike County, the legislature has said that when they set a tax rate, they report to the fiscal court. We can't, and then we have to approve their tax rate, what they decide their tax rate's going to be.
We don't have to approve it, we have to acknowledge it.
Right, and that's all we're doing.
We don't approve it, then they vote on their board to approve it. And then whatever they vote to approve, then we have to accept it and send it on to the proper people.
And the Pike County Fiscal Court gets blamed for it.
Yes, and we do.
And then we have to acknowledge our tax rate, which we're not going to raise taxes. I think we're actually going to lower it a little bit or something. And that's the big problem we had last year.
And that's just like this with the library board. They built a new library over there. They've got an old building down Pikeville that they won't sell, but they're raising taxes. I don't understand that.
And I think they close Phelps down 2 or 3 days a week when they open this new one up over here. They don't have money to run the out libraries, but they can do whatever they need over here.
Can't get used to that thing.
I need a motion to acknowledge.
We got that one.
Roll call.
No, we should be on
This
right
one.
here.
Yeah.
You gotta read that one.
Okay. Acknowledge receipt of the Pike County Library District 2018 tax rates. I need a motion to acknowledge.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson. Yes. Magistrate Compton.
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy.
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Varney.
Yes.
Judge Deskins.
Yes. Acknowledge the receipt of Pike County Library District 2018 Kentucky Annual Report to Public Libraries. I need a motion to acknowledge.
Motion.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Compton.
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy.
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson. Magistrate Varney.
Yes.
Judge Deskins.
Yes. Approval to remove Hillcrest Drive, CR 8725 from the Pike County road system. Kyle, would you address this?
Yes, we had a hearing this morning, a public hearing regarding the removal of Hillcrest Drive from the county road system. There was no one present to voice any objection, nor were there any written responses objecting to the removal.
Motion.
I need a motion to acknowledge.
Second. Hillman made the motion, I'll second it.
Okay,
Yes.
Hey, Jake, what are they removing that? What's the,
Jeff, it's a road over my district. The people live over there, they had the petition to take it out of the road system.
We need a roll call.
I need a motion to approve. Have we got it?
Yeah, roll call.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
yes.
Magistrate Compton.
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy. Yes. Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Varney.
Yes.
Judge Diskins.
Yes. Approval to cancel lease PR 847 with the Finance and Administrative Cabinet, Department for Facilities and Support Services for property located basement floor of the Pike County Courthouse, Pikeville, Kentucky, Department of Corrections, Mental Health. Jeannie?
Okay, the first one was the mental health office in the basement, and they moved to the third floor of the detention center. So we need to go ahead and cancel the lease that we had with them, and we have already executed a lease for the third floor. And then the next one, I'll go ahead and do it if you want. It's probation and parole. We'll cancel that lease, and we've executed a lease for the third floor on the detention center, at the detention center.
I need a motion to approve.
Individual. The first one is PR 4847, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion on that.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson. Yes. Magistrate Compton.
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy. Yes. Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Varney.
Yes.
Judge Diskins.
Yes. Approval to cancel lease PR 3952 with the Finance and Administration Cabinet, Department for Facilities and Support Service for property located on the third floor of the Pike County Courthouse, Pikeville, Kentucky. Probation and Parole Office, Corrections. Jenny?
Second.
Second.
A second.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson. Yes. Magistrate Compton.
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy. Yes. Magistrate Robinson. Yes. Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Varney.
Yes.
Judge Diskins.
Yes. Approval to reschedule or cancel November the 6th, 2018 fiscal court meeting.
Hey, Judge.
What's the reason?
The next court meeting falls, is an evening meeting, and it'll fall on election night.
Yeah.
And they actually use this courtroom for a polling place.
Yes.
So we need to
Change that.
we need to reschedule or actually cancel that meeting, whatever the court wants to do.
Make a motion, we cancel and then reschedule if we
Yeah.
have to.
If needed, yeah.
Okay.
I'll second.
Need a motion.
Already,
We got it.
Leo made it and
He made the motion.
Roll call.
I second. Yeah.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Compton.
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy.
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Varney.
Yes.
Judge Diskins.
Yes. Awarding of bids. Pam? Okay, Frankie, okay.
Judge, I have two bids to present to the court. The first bid is bid number 33 for 2018. It's for an access control board and security cameras at the detention center. One bid was received from New Tech Systems Incorporated of Ashland. The total bid price is $149,500. No exceptions to the bids. They also added an option price for audio recording on the cameras, which would be an additional $17,950. The warranty on the server for the board would be 3 years, and all the other equipment would have a 1-year warranty. After talking to Brian Morris, the jailer, he said that he's not in the position to, even though he would like to have the ability to record audio on the cameras, he can't really afford it right now in his budget. The control board that controls everything over there, all the doors and everything, is failing. They've had a lot of work done on it to maintain the one that they have, so they really need to replace it, and it is budgeted in his budget for this year. The cameras, once we pay this bid and the boards and the cameras are installed, then the price of the security cameras, the jailer is going to reimburse the court out of commissary, and I think it's going to be somewhere around $50,000 to $60,000 that we'll get reimbursed back out of the jail commissary for the security cameras. But it is recommended to award this bid to New Tech Systems with the lowest evaluated bid price of $149,500. No award for the audio option.
So we're going to pay for it?
We're going to pay for it, and he's going to pay us back for the security cameras. The Access Control Board was budgeted this year in his budget. When he came to the court last year, if you remember, that was one of the things that he increased his budget for, was to replace this Access Control Board.
Yeah.
So it is budgeted in his budget for this year. The second bid is bid number 34 for 2018. It was for one newest model 3/4 ton pickup truck. We received 2 bids. The first bid from Walter Chevrolet of Pikeville. Total bid price $33,794. It's for a 2018 Chevy Silverado 2500 heavy duty pickup. No exceptions to the bid. Immediate delivery. Full factory warranty, and this truck also includes the running boards, the WeatherTech floor liner, and a backup camera. The second bid we received was from Pop Chevrolet of Prestonsburg. Total bid price $31,928. It is also on a 2018 Silverado 2500 heavy duty pickup. No exceptions to the bid. Delivery by the 29th of October, and full factory warranty. It is recommended to award this bid to Walter Chevrolet with the lowest evaluated bid price of $33,794 for the additional options that the other base model truck doesn't have. There's about $1,800 difference in the price, but when you add those options, it actually exceeds the base model. And this is a pickup for Road Lot 3. So it is recommended to award this bid to Walter Chevy with the lowest evaluated bid price of $33,794.
So even though it's the highest bid,
Got extras on it for safety.
the other one didn't have no extras, didn't.
No.
Have anything.
These are 2 trucks that are actually already built. It's not like we're ordering the trucks. Mm-hmm. These are sitting on the lot, so that's basically, they meet the minimum specifications that we had bid out, but this truck had extra options on it, the other one didn't.
Right.
Back up.
Like the camera, the running boards, the floor liners. And this is the one that Road Lot 3 wanted.
They're all just safety. It's none of it's extra stereos or anything. It's safety
Right.
equipment
Mm-hmm.
that's on.
Right.
It's stuff they usually add to the trucks anyway. Not the backup camera, but the other stuff.
That's a good safety thing too for them.
Are you finished?
I am, Judge.
I make a motion on the treasurer's 2 recommendations on the bids.
Need a second. Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson,
Yes.
Magistrate Compton,
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy,
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson, Magistrate Dodson,
Yes.
Magistrate Barney,
Yes.
Judge Fiscal.
Yes.
Judge, I just wanted to ask the court, is there any other magistrates that may want to buy, since we had already bid this truck, the second truck at Pop Chevrolet? Does anybody would want to buy that truck? Since we had already bid it, we can go ahead and award it today if they want it. If nobody else wants it, then we'll just not award it. If nobody wants it. Okay.
I need a motion to approve.
We got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Roll call, please.
We already got that too.
Oh, Magistrates Road Work. I need-
Second.
All right, roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson? Magistrate Compton?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy?
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Varney?
Yes.
Judge Cisco?
Yes. Magistrates' comments. Anderson? I don't have any comments.
I just want to thank Magistrate Murphy and Magistrate Robinson for loaning me some of his crew to catch up on some work, so I thank them, so,
That was a good deal.
a good deal.
Leo?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Jack and Earl if he'd heard anything on that bridge for Big Hackney's Creek up there. State and federal supposed to change it out.
No, I haven't, Leo. Well, not lately, but the last time I talked to them a few weeks ago, they've just had procedures they was going through, and it's, in private business, you go and just do things, but state government and us, you got procedures, and that's what they're telling me, procedures is they're going through. But they're going to do it, but it's just a time frame.
Thank you. That's all.
All right, Kenna? Hillman?
Judge, I'd just like to ask Frankie where we stand on our airport money that is owed to the county. I know it's quite a bit of money, and what we're doing to collect it.
I don't think that they only meet on a quarterly basis. I think they had just met about 2 weeks before we sent them those bills last time. So that was about a month ago. I think it'll still be a while before they have another regularly scheduled meeting unless they call a special meeting for some reason to address it. But they haven't had a meeting since those bills were sent to them. So it'll probably be about another month or two.
Probably after January, and
it should be around the end of November, 1st of December. I can call the airport board and find out when their next regularly scheduled meeting is.
Well, did they ever say what they owed us, and if they owe us, or if they're going to pay us, or?
When I talked to Bill Hickman about it, he said that their accountant had been accruing the amounts that they thought that they had owed on their books. They had made an accrual to pay us. He didn't, I guess he didn't believe that it was that much at that time. So, but I sent those bills to him, and then he sent those on to his accountants to review. Like I said, they haven't taken any action or had another meeting since then. So I don't know. I could call him and follow up on it and find out when his next meeting is.
Did you find out what you thought we owed them?
$392,000 for the last 3 fiscal years.
So that's pretty accurate according to your records.
It is? Yeah, because the last payment we received was in September of 2015, and that paid them through the June 2015 fiscal year. That was the last time they were billed, and it was the last time that we received payment for them. It was through June of 2015.
That's what I was wanting to try to find out. I don't know if anybody else had talked to you about it or not, but I know it's one of the issues that we're looking at is collecting that money that's owed to the county. And I was also wanting to know, Jackie Darrell, listened to all the statements that was made in the last commissioners' debate. It sounded like that we were getting blamed for a lot of things that we shouldn't be blamed for. All the problems will be answered after January. They're going to bring jobs into the county and put people to work. They only knew what we'd been doing for the last 20 years is trying to get companies to come in here. And this county has donated, the newspaper said we hadn't done anything to help contribute to the factories and things going into the city. They don't realize that we'd donated about, I believe, maybe $300,000 out of co-severance to help get that bridge built, wasn't it, Jeff? Or
About close to $1 million.
4 million.
Right at $1 million.
Right at 4 million, I think.
1.4.
But you know, the newspaper said the county hadn't contributed anything, the city had done it. And, you know, I think it's unfair to this court.
Then he'll want to contribute the last $100,000 to do some type of survey that they said had to be done right at that time.
There's a core drilling, I think.
Environmental study.
Yeah.
There wasn't a negative vote that not be done, so.
So I think we've contributed to industry in Pike County, and we've been trying to get industry here, but it's hard to get people to come in when they got to build roads and things to get to the industrial park. We had an industrial park down here that we built, and we've been able to contribute to some jobs at the teleworks. You know, it's not like we're just sitting up here not doing anything, but according to the questions and answers, this court has not done anything. And one big issue was the Senior Citizen Center, you know, being able to keep it going or not. And Diane, we've been able to keep the senior citizens going for years, and you know, we contribute, what, $600,000, probably the most of any county in the state, to the Senior Citizen Center. This year we went down to help to get some vehicles. We've tried our best to make the Senior Citizen Center go, and I hope the next court will realize what we have done, and we'll continue to push that project forward. But you know, it just it bothers you when you hear people criticize you for everything you're doing. It's nothing right. And Jack, they said something about people were blocked in Bent Branch, and I'd like for you to comment on that and let them know what really happened that day when that flood came from up on the mountain.
Well, as soon as we learned that Bear Fork had a problem, the issue up there had flooded again, we immediately started moving equipment and going to that direction to take care of the problem. And the man that hauls the trailers, the equipment, he already had a trailer, an excavator moving to some other area, so we had to wait on the excavator. But just as soon as he got that delivered, we got our excavator over there, got the backhoes over there, and it was kind of hard to sit and watch that debate there and not listen to them talk, because they're talking about they'd share, you know, they had different opinions different ways, but they'd share equipment for different lots and stuff, and they was in there, and that's what we done. We got an excavator off District 4 and a backhoe off District 3. We moved the equipment there to get the job done, and they was talking about we should take care of the problem, get the people out. That newspaper man, yeah. Anyway, he made that comment, but he did address when I told him, and I was going to call the paper and told him about our problems up there. And I said, you know, we'll worry about who's responsible later, but we just get the people out now. And so that's what we worked at. We wasn't just waiting on the coal company to come and do something, and we was waiting on each other the way they pretended that debate, the newspaper man in particular. We immediately went after to solve the problems, to get the people out in case an issue come up with health or whatever it may be. And anyway, I addressed the newspaper man after he got the thing. I told him that that's what we done, and it was unfair the way he presented that. And I says, you're not interested in telling the truth, you're just interested in the story. And we took care of the problem immediately and got those people out just as soon as possible. But in anything, you got to, you know, wait on events. You got to get your equipment hauled there, because you can't do a Star Trek deal and beam it there. You got to move it there. So anyway, they talked about us sharing, and we've done that. Different districts has been good on that. We sacrificed to help the other in the greater need. And it was disappointing to listen to them present something that we had done it that way.
Well, Jack, you know, if it wasn't for sharing, we'd be broke down. I've had an excavator down, a backhoe down. Charlie's let us use his equipment, and I think Jeff let us use his, and the other people. If it wasn't for sharing, we would have been broke down 2 months ago. We wouldn't have been able to do anything. So they really don't know what they're talking about.
They don't. That's what I told some of the people came to me, one particular. Yeah. But I told them they didn't know what this talking about there, and we had a kind of a few words. But District 2, I should have said there, we've had the excavator for quite a while.
But,
and things happen in the mechanical world. If man makes it, it's going to break down.
And one of the commissioners said you got to keep the creeks all dipped out and cleaned out before these things happen. We'd just taken the drain pipe out, and about an hour later, it come another rain and stopped it up. So
it washed out again. We had to deal with it twice in one day.
Yeah.
And that's something this court may need to do. I've tried to call that coal company. I've talked to them prior to that happening. We've got a problem. It happened 2 years ago there. And we worked together on that project. We put it in. They bought the drain. But it's had a problem here recently. About a month ago, it was plugging up at the head of the hollow. And that coal company's trying to act like it ain't their fault, but, you know, it's up to the last house, and then it turns to the left, and the hollow goes up through our, and it's washing that hollow out. And it's just a sudden wash of water that terrain can't handle, and just keeps stopping their drains up, and they need to take care of that problem. I've told him that, and as we talked, and he sent some men up there to do a little bit of stuff, but not enough. And this court needs to maybe, well, the paper showed where the federal government gave them a violation for the pond and the water being released. And so that coal company needs to come forth and take care of the expenses we were out because of their neglect. And I told JB to keep a track of all the work we done there. But in the newspaper today, it showed where they got a violation for that pond. And we may need to take some actions, county attorney, against that coal company. And it's the governor of West Virginia's, what is that energy deal there? Jim Justice, yeah, he's his whole company, Revelations. And I've talked to some Atkins guy, and I tried to call him the other day when the Bear Ranch happened again. We talked about a month before, and he wouldn't even answer the phone call. I couldn't get a hold of nobody, never did call me back. So they've been neglectful of the thing they created. But as they tried to say we weren't doing nothing, waiting on them, we immediately worked on the job and worry about who's responsible later.
Well, Jack, I ain't blaming nobody, but you get 3 or 4 inches of rain in a few hours, it's got to go somewhere. And, you know, we just have to deal with it. And I'd say the crew that we have is out there doing their job and trying to get this problem lined out. They work till dark. They work Saturdays. And, you know, people need to realize that we're doing everything we can, and it's not that we're laying back and not doing the job that we're accused of not doing. But, you know, it's easy to point fingers and blame somebody. So I'm really interested in next session to see how these new commissioners and new judge, whoever it might be, will be able to take care of the problems and solve them, and I hope them the best. And I'm just anxious to see, you know, how this thing works out. But I think the people is going to realize that we've done our job. And Jeannie, I got one more thing. You know, we supposed to order a plaque for Buddy Dotson a few months ago, and I just wonder where we are on that.
I'm waiting on them to get me, I changed something on it, and I'm waiting on them to get it back from wherever they send it to get it, to fix it so we can look at it to make sure before you buy it, it's right.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Judge, you know, where Halloween's coming up, my senior citizens bunch over there, they've invited the kindergarten and the first grade from Belfair Elementary on October the 30th to come over. They're having a little party for them and stuff, and those women are so excited about those kids coming there. They're going to be dressed up and stuff for them, and they're just doing a great job over there. My director and stuff, Susie Stanley, I love them all to death, and they're just really doing a good job. We've picked up a couple of got a couple of dumps, illegal dumps, cleaned up in my area, and now I'm in the process of contacting the owners of the property and tell them to put up some signs, a gate or something, because Bob, we picked it up so they can fill it back up. You know that story. So, but it looks real good that the contractor done an exceptional job without any equipment. he amazed me and the job that he done on that one dump, Frankie. But he done a real good job. But all in all, our guys are working doing some pothole patching when they can, when it's not raining or it's going to get too cold for us or whatever, but we're plugging right along. Thank you, Judge.
All right. Frankie, you have any additional business?
I do, Judge. Authorize any necessary transfers and interfund transfers to pay the bills, payroll, health, life, and dental insurance.
Motion. Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Compton.
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy.
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Varney.
Yes.
Judge Diskins.
Yes.
Authorize payment of the expenditure approval list dated October 15th, 2018, and any other utility and telephone bills received before checks are run.
Need a motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Compton.
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy.
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Varney.
Yes.
Judge Diskins.
Yes.
Acknowledge receipt of the sheriff and the clerk's 2550 report for September 2018.
Motion.
Second.
Need a second.
Got it.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Compton.
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy.
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Varney.
Yes.
Judge Diskins.
Yes.
Acknowledge receipt of the treasurer's quarterly financial statement ending September 30th, 2018.
Motion. Need a motion.
Motion.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Compton.
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy.
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Varney.
Yes.
Judge Diskins.
Yes.
Authorize a check to Elkhorn City School Apartments, LLLP, in the amount of $60,000 on the CDBG fund. This is pass-through money. We've already received the money into that account, and we need to pay it back out.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Compton.
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy.
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Varney.
Is that everything that's in that account? With that?
The account normally has a zero balance until they put money into it, and then we pass it on through to that. It's all federal money.
Okay, yes.
Judge
Yes.
Diskins.
That project finished.
Yes.
The last draw, if you look on, read it there, it says they've got some painting and some small, I think like they have like a walk-through inspection, and if they find anything, but there's only going to be like $3,000 left to pay out to close that project out on the final, once it's finally done.
Has people already started living in it?
No.
No. But it should be soon.
Should be December.
Elkhorn City.
Oh, yeah, that's that old,
Did we get a
Old
motion
high
on
school
that?
there.
yeah.
He's got another one.
They put a bunch of windows and stuff in it.
I've been working with Community Trust Bank. We've got about 10 accounts over there. They're interest-bearing checking accounts, and they normally pay anywhere from 0.8 to 1% interest. And I'd asked the branch manager to review those accounts to see where the Fed interest rates have been ticking up lately, if there's anything that they could do to increase our interest on those accounts. He put together a proposal that said that he would increase the interest rate on all the accounts to the Fed interest rate minus 0.5%, which currently right now that would be 1.75%, which would be almost double the interest rate that we're getting right now. And that would be across the board on all accounts over there. So I would ask the court to authorize the judge to execute a depository accounts agreement with Community Trust Bank to increase the interest rates on all interest-bearing checking accounts to that agreed-upon rate of 0.5% minus the federal interest rate, federal funds interest rate minus 0.5%. And then as the Fed interest rate ticks up, our interest rate goes up along with it.
Motion.
Yes.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes. Thanks,
Magistrate
Frankie.
Company?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy?
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Varney?
Thank you, Frankie. Yes.
Judge Davis?
Frankie, how's our credit working out? Is you and Herbie getting that back online? Are we getting to where we can borrow some money, or if
We're in the process of doing our 2018 audit right now. Once that audit field work's completed and that audit report's released, we should be in better standing to
request the S&P.
to request S&P to reinstate the rating, and then also along with the financial, like being able to borrow money on bonds and.
We're working on it.
When do you estimate that will be done, Frankie?
The state auditor's office is the one doing our the audit for this year. I would guess, I haven't talked to them about when they plan on completing, but they've actually they started with one auditor. They have actually sent 2 more up there once they completed the sheriff's audit. So we've got 3 up there working now. I would say probably at the end of next month, they would have all the field work done and the report in the review stage, probably maybe the middle of January to when the report will be released. I'm just guessing by past.
And that has to be done before we can do it. We've tried to figure out a way to get around it, and there's just no way to get around it, the way the situation is.
Frankie, I think you're doing a good job, and you know this court took a beating for things that we wasn't responsible for. And, you know, we inherited this problem, and I hope we can get it resolved before we leave office.
I do have one last thing, Judge. The state legislature passed a requirement for all counties and cities that they have to have a data breach policy in place.
Yeah, seen that.
And it's one of the audit checks that they look for when they do audits now. Eastern Telephone does our IT, and I had them write up a data breach policy. Basically, this will say that if our server gets compromised and personal information gets out, the steps that the court would take immediately against that. It's a big security issue nowadays. So that policy is written, and we just need the court to adopt it.
I make a motion we adopt the policy.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Compton?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy?
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Varney?
Yes.
Judge Daskins?
Yes.
That's all I have, Judge.
All right. Bobby, I need the executive session to discuss personnel and possible litigation. Bobby Varney, will you read the KRS?
Yes, sir. At this time, I make a motion that we do go into executive session, and according to KRS 61.810, paragraph C, discuss proposed or pending litigation, and paragraph F, to discuss Pacific personnel.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Compton?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy?
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Varney?
Yes.
Judge Daskins?
Yes. We'll be in recess for a few minutes. The meeting will resume. Pam, you going to put that, make that motion?
Approval to hire Dayton Hall temporary as a packer driver at Solid Waste Area 2 at a 3H rate of pay effective 10/9/2018. Approval to amend court order from October 2nd for Jeff Stanley to include his longevity. Approval to acknowledge the retirement of Hargis Blackburn effective 10/1/2018. and approval to lay off seasonal employees, Glenn Stanley at the Hardy Park, Mike Coleman at the Fish Trap Lake area, effective pay period ending 11/3/2018. That's judge's recommendation.
All right. These are my recommendations and my motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Compton.
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy.
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Varney.
Yes.
Judge Diskins.
Yes. All right, public comment. Blake Walker.
I'm here about the bridge down at Walker's Branch, but before I start on that, Hillman, could I ask you a question?
Okay.
You sure can.
How long was them people blocked in up on Bent Branch?
Well, I don't really think it was very long. It was just a flash flood, to my knowledge. It come down the road, and they had debris, and some of the road had been blocked. I think it was a matter of hours. We had a crew in there. We had to get some equipment hauled over there. Probably, what'd you say, Jack, half a day?
Yeah, I'd say something like that, if that long. No, it
Well, I would
wasn't half
say-
a day, 12 hours, half a day. No, we was in there before that, I believe.
Probably less than a half a day. You know, just a matter of getting there and getting it done and getting it cleaned up. But while they were cleaning it up, they put a new drain in, and then about an hour later, they come another flash flood and stopped it up. So, you know, you had about 3 or 4 inches of rain, I guess, and it was just hard to control. But that wasn't the only holler there that got damaged. We had several over in that area that had, and I'd say you had some down your way too, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. But, you know, that's a matter of hours. If they was like the people in Walker's Branch and trapped in for 6 to 8 weeks, you fellas would have really looked bad from what I've sat here and listened at today.
Oh, 6 or 8 weeks is a long time.
6 to 8 weeks is a long time, my friend. 6 or 8 weeks
And
is a
you
long
haven't-
time to
have
not
you-
be able to get to your property.
Have you had people blocked in there that long?
Yeah, I have walked. When my mom was alive, we had to walk from down on the golf course for about 8 weeks. And that was every day when we was taking care of her. And boys.
That's uncalled for.
That's uncalled for. I mean, and a woman died up in the head there. It's about 6, 7 o'clock on Sunday evening. 10:30, 11 o'clock the next day before they could get in there to get her out. This day and time, that is uncalled for. But
You know, we used to have a situation over on Johns Creek, when the creek was up, the cemetery up on the hill, they couldn't get there to bury them, so they'd have to keep them in the funeral home until water went down and they could get them over to bury them. But we were able to put a bridge in there at a low cost, and they're using it today.
But I didn't get to make it here last month, but the month before, Jeff, you and I think Jimmy and Jackie Darrell were supposed to go down and look things over. Did you ever make it down there, or where
We
was
did.
standing?
Yeah, Jackie and I went down, a month or so ago, and surveyed everything, and I think what we have decided to do, the road, which we didn't get to go back to it because the gate was locked, but the property there where the Childers guy bought, I think there's a way that we might be able to move the road and get access if you were to get blocked, at least get y'all in and out.
I mean, he give me access to go through there. It's a 4-wheel drive road at a dry time.
Right. I mean, I'm just talking about we may have to do some work.
He told me before he ever give me permission to use it, he knew the situation, and he said, "I'll tell you right now, absolutely, positively will not have a county road going out through here." I mean, and I'm telling you what,
yeah,
tell you what he said. Huh? Yeah.
The county already owns a 6-foot right of way across it. To that swinging bridge, if you ever put in, I'm sure you cross the middle.
Okay. Can you prove that? Because we had a 8-foot right-of-way across there. Back in 76 or 77, somebody took a chainsaw and cut the post off to let the old bridge fall. And my dad, wait a minute, my dad went to the courthouse and could not find where we had that right-of-way. It had been removed out of the system. Now, can you prove that? If you can.
I can tell you this.
Huh?
Loretta, your sister, is a very nice lady. She only wants to be left alone. She doesn't want all the public on the cross down at her house. Now, up there to upbuild that bottom.
Well.
She plainly stated to me that you can have the right of way up there, but it's only a 6-foot road that the county already owns. Add on to it, and when you get over there, there's a brand new bridge already crossing. Ray Jones fixed.
Well.
I think you on the other side of it and Kevin Childers owns it.
All right.
It'll come out right
Hang on. Hang on. Now, the county road that you're talking about, I'm not going to say it was a county road, but we had a easement across there.
Right.
Now, it went out to the swinging bridge here.
Right.
Okay? The bridge you're talking about is way back up here. So you're going to have to go back over him to get up to it, and then you got to come back down the other side of the creek to get back to my property.
Well, you go around the hill over there, next to the back of that bottom, and I think you own that bottom.
No.
Who owns that?
Kenneth Childers owns that. You know where Loretta's property line goes across from the road to the creek?
Yes.
My property line is straight on the other side and then goes up the hill. From that property line up, Kenneth owns. I don't own that bottom over there. I own.
Just put a brand new bridge across that, going over on the other side over there, that will go right around to your home, brother. Would keep you out of
Hey.
half a mile to build a bridge or build a road or nothing.
You've got to build a road right around the side of Rock Cliff for.
You go around the back of that bottom, I'd have to be a rock cliff.
Yeah, you go down there and look at it. From the end of that bottom down to the end of my bottom, it's a rock cliff, and it's probably 500-600 foot long. And I know you're friends with Loretta. But
I think that's a better option for you than going down in the middle of that bottom, that you'd have to have a boat to get to your bridge and then a boat to get off of it.
hey, if you put a bridge, can I show you a picture? Can anybody here put a picture off my phone up on the screen?
I was down there 3 weeks ago in the water, hillside to hillside. It was all
Are there anybody here that can put a picture off my phone up on the screen to where everybody can see it?
I can't.
Well, I know what you're saying, but anywhere you live on Johns Creek, you're not going to get completely out of the water. But that water was everywhere. Okay, Saturday, that was Friday morning. Saturday morning, it was back down out of the bottom. If we'd have had a bridge level with the creek bank, we could have got out. But no, we're still blocked in with that old low water bridge. And Loretta, you know, you say she wants to be left alone. I mean, she don't talk to me. I don't bother her. This is a county road, a county bridge that needs to have something done. I mean, build a bridge right where it's at. I don't care. Just get us a bridge in there up level with the creek bank.
So you don't like the option of us moving the road and just building a new road? And I mean, are you saying that's doable, Terry, based on what you're?
Sure it is.
I mean, as far as the property owners and everything else is.
If I was to go down and ask you where you want me to build a bridge at, I build a bridge over in the bottom, which is on higher ground, where it seldom gets flooded. It has to get really big before the water gets up. You can actually.
Okay. Okay, you talking about building a bridge there where the old swinging bridge used to be? Hey, I'll go with that, and I'll give a right of way around that bottom, but.
Permission to use the brand new bridge there from the gas company, which they go across that brand new road across the bottom there, which I think he told me you should use that.
He did.
if you want to build a bridge there, I mean, I've got no problem with building a bridge up there on the upper end. And build it there where the old swinging bridge is at.
You could be able to use that 90% of the time.
Right. The same of building it down there where it's at, and up there, they wouldn't be 2 hours difference in the using time.
Well, I think what Kenneth was telling me was, he was just saying he would give whoever, because you don't live there, is that correct?
That's correct, but I got property.
Yeah, but okay. So you don't live there, but the other people that do,
But there's nobody else has got a right of way to use that road except me.
Which road you talking about? Kenneth?
Yeah.
Okay, now my understanding was he was gonna let like if people got trapped because of the water, that he would let them in and out.
Well, the Foots has got 2-wheel drive Toyota truck. It won't go because it's a 4-wheel drive road in dry weather. And them other people, they walk, and which I don't want them on my property, nowhere, shape, form, or fashion, or anything that they're associated with. And I have told them that. Next
So
time
why don't we
I
go,
catch them
Jackie?
on my property, then
Why don't we go down and look at where the old swinging bridge used to be, and look and see if that might be somewhere we can build a bridge.
and you can build one there, but you're gonna have a 70-foot high wall that's got to be straight rock, took straight down in order to get a 12, 15-foot road there to get down.
Yeah, you be available later this week, Jackie? Maybe Friday.
I've been told it's a lot of rock cliff like it is on the lower end. If there's rock cliff up there, you'd have to shoot out or hammer out, which would be pretty good expense to that. But I haven't walked it. I've just talked to people who lived in that area, as me and you did on the lower end. But it's talking about going down that lower end across that new bridge down towards the golf course. And he said that property was also owned by Loretta, and I thought it was all his, but he said it's owned by Loretta. And if you went that route, you'd have to shoot some mountain or take a hammer and chip it out, and you'd have to condemn land again.
Right.
But that maybe one or to walk up there, but I've been told by people from that area, as he said, he's lived there quite a bit of his life growing up, that there's a rock cliff and pretty well straight up and down, and that's tough to deal with.
I'll try to get hold of Ken, maybe because that gate was locked the day we were there. Maybe we can go back and...
If we could walk that out and get our own vision. But I pretty well think those people are telling us the truth of that matter.
Well, and you're talking about building the bridge up there where the swinging bridge is at. You're going to have probably a 100-foot bridge to build, because you got the creek here, then you've got level land here, and then you've got to come up to bottom level over here before you're going to benefit yourself. If you don't bring the bridge up level with the bottom, you're just defeating your purpose. Then, if you fill from the bottom level out to the end of your bridge to get it up, then you've choked your water down, and anybody knows that that's just problems, and I know firsthand, because when they dipped that creek out down there and built them berms down along the golf course, that makes everything back up on us more, because the water used to spread out over the golf course. Now it's got 8, 10-foot berms there, and it has to go down through that channel, and just so much water can go down through that channel. So you know when a drain tile stops up, what happens? Water backs up.
Who is it that lives there now?
Lives where?
Across the bridge. Who all gets actually trapped in there? What's their names? Foote, Victor?
Victor Foote. And your guess is good as mine on the other, and he's Lorenzo A. Yazcon when he gets arrested, and he's Marvin Blackburn the rest of the time. Okay. So, I don't know.
Lorenzo Yazcon.
Lorenzo.
I believe I have some kin to him.
Yes, Y-A-S-C-O-N-E. Yazcon. I don't know how you pronounce it, but he tells everybody down there his name's Marvin Blackburn. But every time he gets high...
Gasconian.
Yasconian?
Yasconi.
Yasconi.
Are they home during the day?
Who?
These families?
The Yaz County, you see them walking all hours of the day and night. Victor, he's up there most of the time foot. He's up there most of the time. He'll come out once, twice a week. But most of the time he's
You be available Friday, Jackie, maybe, or sometime in the near future?
I'm available anytime.
We'll go talk to them too, try to get there, get some feedback. Then we'll try to,
Blake, is that the one you didn't want on your property, that Yass County?
Yes, sir. I don't want him or nothing he's associated with on my property, and I have told him that.
Does he live beyond your property?
Yes.
How in the world would you ever get him out of there?
Huh?
How could he get out if you don't want him across your property?
Not my problem.
Well, if you build a county bridge, you know, it'd be a county road, wouldn't it?
It's county road now.
Well, I don't know.
So as long as he stays in the county road, me and him's got no problem. But I've told him and I've told everybody, I don't want him or nothing he's associated with on my property. Because I don't deal with that stuff, and I don't deal with people that do that stuff. And I've had a lot of trouble of his customers driving up through my hay field and destroying my hay field, and that's going to stop. When do you want to go down there? And I'll come down there.
I'm gonna try to, maybe Thursday or Friday. I'll just get a hold of Jackie and we'll go down.
You mind if I go with you? And I can show you what you're dealing with as far as,
yeah, no, I don't have a problem.
And this court, they're all time, they don't have the money. And I can stand right here right now and tell you, down there where you're talking about building the bridge is going to be probably a fourth of the money as it's going to be to build a bridge up at the other end and then chisel a road out of the hillside. And then you've got a half a mile that you've got to build a road and fill to get the road up out of the water.
Blake, your 10 minutes is up. Why don't you and Anderson get together and meet and see what you can do?
If they'll call me, I'll go down there and meet with them.
Jeff will do that with you.
So Friday, what time?
Thursday or Friday, I'm not sure. Thursday, I'll get up with Jackie and try to get us time.
He and I, Jeff, one time, I recalled right then, we rode down and looked at that option there, and it looks pretty tough. I may have looked at it wrong, but I don't think I did.
I mean, on the upper end, you're looking at least a 100-foot bridge. We're down there on the other end, you're looking at probably a 50, maybe 55-foot bridge.
No.
You go to that 100-foot bridge, you've got to put several piers in.
But anyway, we got to move on a little bit.
Yeah, we head that way, we'll call you. I got your number.
All right.
Okay. Pike County Judge, Deputy Judge Executive comments. Herbie?
Judge, thank you. I think earlier we were talking about the county, how much they contributed to the bridge up at the industrial park, and I think we finally determined that we contributed $1.4 million up to that bridge, and then the last $100,000 to do I think a drill or a patty, let's see, but that was the last $100,000 that had to be raised and spent in just a short time, and this court voted unanimously to give that $100,000. And I'd like to bring to the attention of everyone here that there is another industrial park that has been here, and that's down at Mossy Bottom. This court here, Mr. Robinson, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 people on that Mossy Bottom, this court developed that. And we've got several industries down there. Elliott's, Peterbilt, Leslie Equipment, Coke, Premier Contracting, and Sloan's. So this reminds me sometimes of the, I was in a play in school, Julius Caesar, and I had a Mark Antony's oration, you know, after they had killed Caesar. And he said, "Friends, Romans, and countrymen, lend me your ears. I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him. The evil that men do live after them, and the good is oft interred with their bones." Seems like that's what some people want to do with this fiscal court. This is some of the oldest people in fiscal court in Kentucky. And it's not only, there's and so many things that they do, so many things that they're called upon to do. Sanitation, our landfill. We're one of the few people in eastern Kentucky that has tried to provide for our people here in Pike County a landfill that will take on the responsibility to do that. There's not very many counties that would do that. Not very many counties could finance that. And a road department that has more roads in it here than Jefferson and Fayette County combined. And I've gone over these roads for the last 14 months, and let me tell you what, they're in pretty good shape. Now, they're not super highways, but every time Jackie, Darrell, and I go out and look at a project, I'm surprised at how well that we've maintained our secondary roads. It's just sometimes that people don't give other people a chance, or sometimes the good is oft interred with their bones. And I just wanted to say that, Judge. There's a bunch of people. I started working with you in 2004 when this Mossy Bottom project started, and it was and it's completed in full. And there are very many people that don't realize that. They don't realize how that industry got there. But it was this court right here that did all the work to get them in, and Mr. Robinson, I remember, just about solely brought us Peterbilt. And their employees are highly paid, and it's a flourishing industry. So sometimes the county just didn't get the praise that they ought to have. Now, on this tax bill, I want everybody out there watching TV and it's in here to know that Pike County is not raising your taxes. But there is 5 or 6 taxing entities within this county that, by virtue of not taking the tax rate that they had last year, is going to allow your taxes to raise. So when you get the bill and there's some raises on it, it will be raised by some of the other taxing entities, but not this fiscal court. So I just wanted to announce that ahead of time, because I think we're going to take a vote on it to keep the tax rate at the same rate that we have, so that no one will get a tax increase. So, Judge, that's all I've got to say. Thank you.
All right. Do we want to get a motion on that?
Herbie, I'd like to thank you for the comments you made. If we'd been doing this previously, maybe we wouldn't got blamed for so much stuff. But people are going to blame you no matter who, and we've got broad shoulders, and they pay us to let people talk about us. So, you know, we're doing the best we can as a court. And I hope that the next court won't have the abuse that we've had. And I just want to thank you for what you just set the record straight on a lot of things. On the taxes, we did get blindsided last year with our property tax. We didn't vote to increase it or decrease it. The state gave us the compensating rate, which we wasn't aware of, and that gave everybody a big tax increase. And we had to take the blame for it. But hopefully this year we know what happened, we can straighten that matter up.
Well, everyone's turned in their tax rates except the school board. So I understand that this court's going to vote in just a minute to keep the tax rate where it is, and and that way the citizens can be assured that this fiscal court is not passing any of the increase that they're going to see on their tax bill from us. It's not coming from us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think, Herbie, if we keep it like it is, we'll probably lose $170,000 income. Is that about right?
Well, that's right, but if you look at the whole picture, this court voted not to take off the occupational tax. So we're going to lose a little money, but we kept that on, or the fiscal court, not we, this fiscal court kept it on. So there shouldn't be any bad press or bad communications concerning the loss of that when we kept on a $2.5 million tax. So that's I think the citizens of this county have not really appreciated the work that this fiscal court does and the dedicated employees that this county has, especially in the road department, in the sanitation department, in the parks department, and all the departments. So these are all good people that are trying to do the best they can for you and stretching every dollar that we can. As I've seen over here, the budget outside of a couple of problems that we didn't know was going on, every tax dollar that's spent here is well spent and well accounted for. We've never, I know the paper said that we hadn't paid our bills. We have never reneged on a bill as far as I know. We never not going to paying our bills. We pay our bills, but we just don't pay them the way that some people pay them, or the auditor said, because we're on a different schedule. But there's nobody hounding us for money. We pay our bills and pay them on time.
Frankie, you have an item or two?
I do, Judge. Thank you. I think the court's intention is to set the tax rates today at the same rates they were last year. Without adopting the compensating rate, property assessments were down. The compensating rate would be 0.9 of a point, and to not take that would lose $173,657 in tax revenue on property taxes. The court's not going to take the compensating rate and keep rates the same as they were last year. Those rates were 18 cents per hundred assessed value on real property, 25 cents per hundred assessed value on personal property, 14 cents per hundred assessed value on motor vehicles and watercraft, and plus a 2 cents per acre for fire protection. And I think the court wants to adopt those rates.
Correct. I'll make a motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yeah.
Yes.
Magistrate Compton?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy?
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson? Yes. Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Varney?
Yeah, I want to vote yes, but before I do, I'd like to, and really, the person's property tax out there, just about 12% of it is all that goes to the fiscal court. And people need to realize that when we set this rate and do this, we're talking about it's 12%. That's what we're dealing with. It's not that big bunch of money. Look and see where all the money's going. That's what they need to look at, and it breaks it down for you. It tells you how much goes to the library, how much goes to the school, how much goes to everything. And you'll see that fiscal court is not the big money bearer that everybody thinks that we are, that we get all this money in and stuff, and they need to understand that. Yes, I vote yes.
Judge Diskin?
Yes. You have another one?
I do, Judge. We had initially rejected a bid back in September to buy Mack trucks on our annual lease program. But I've been working with Kelly Mittler at CAECO, and she has put a lot of work into this, but she has got board approval from the CAECO board that CAECO would internally finance the lease Mack program for the county for this fiscal year. The total cost of that would be $1,457,734 for the total price of the 10 trucks. The county would have to pay a 20% down payment, which would be $291,546.80. There would be some closing costs associated with the lease, about $3,500. And CAECO would finance $1,166,187.20. We had got the results of what the trucks would have sold for in the September auction. The trucks sold really well. Actually, the dump trucks and the roll-off trucks sold for more than what we actually paid for the trucks. And we look for the December auction to sell as well or maybe even better. So the 10 new trucks would be there. As we drop the other trucks off, we would pick the 10 new trucks back up. And so I would ask the court for permission for the judge to execute a notification of intent to lease with the Department of Local Government on the purchase of 10 Mack trucks. The total lease amount would be $1,200,000. That would be the county's portion that we're financing with CAECO at an interest rate of 5.25%. That would be basically a one-year lease. When we sell the trucks in September next year, we'll pay that lease off.
And actually, Frankie, us waiting at this period of time, we're going to probably make more money on the trucks that we've got, right?
Yes. Yes. They look for the December auction to be better than the September auction.
Well, somebody needs to tell Jeff Vanderbutt over there at the newspaper that that was one of the reasons we didn't sell the trucks back when we were going to sell them. That was one part of the reason. He was saying we were costing the county more money by keeping those trucks and not selling them at the time we sold them. Thank you.
Well,
Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Motion.
They'll need a motion in a second.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Compton?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy?
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Varney?
Yes.
Judge Deskins?
Yes.
I hate to bind the next court, but we don't have no situation other than what we're doing for this debt service, Frankie. If we don't do it now, then it will be too late for them. They'll inherit.
There is a chance that if we don't get the trucks now, in the spring, we have no choice but to sell the trucks we have.
Yeah.
And we don't have a guarantee that they'll have 10 new trucks in the spring to pick up. We can guarantee that the 10 trucks, Worldwide Equipment has told me the 10 trucks are there, that we can pick them up as soon as we drop the others off at the auction. Yeah, we'll be back on track again.
Thank you, Frankie. Thanks.
The next thing is to have a first reading of a proposed ordinance approving a lease of 10 Mack trucks from CAECO. And
Need a motion?
No,
it's just a first reading.
Got to read it.
First
Okay.
reading, yeah.
An ordinance approving a lease for the financing of a project, approving the form of a lease, creating a sinking fund, authorizing the execution of various documents related to such lease, and making certain designations regarding such lease. Whereas the governing body of the County of Pike, Kentucky, the lessee, has the power pursuant to Section 65.940 et sec. Of the Kentucky Revised Statutes to enter into lease agreements with or without the option to purchase in order to provide for the use of the property for public purposes. Whereas the governing body of the lessee, the governing body, has previously determined and hereby further determines that the lessee is in need of the project as defined in the lease hereinafter described. And whereas the governing body has determined and hereby determines that it is in the best interest of the lessee that the lessee enter into a lease agreement, the lease, to be funded by Kentucky Association of Counties Leasing Trust, the lessor, for the leasing by the lessee from the lessor of the project. Now, therefore, be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of the County of Pike, Kentucky, as follows. Section 1, Recitals and Authorization. The lessee hereby approves the lease agreement, the lease, and all collateral documents to the extent defined and identified in the lease, each in substantially the form presented to this governing body. The recitals to this ordinance are incorporated herein as if set forth in this section in their entirety, and are hereby found and determined to be true and correct. It is further found and determined that the project identified in the lease is public property to be used for public purposes, and that it is necessary and desirable and in the best interest of the lessee to enter into the lease for the purposes therein specified, and the execution and delivery of the lease in all representations, certifications, and other matters contained in the closing memorandum with respect to the lease, or as may be required by the lessor prior to delivery of the lease, are hereby approved, ratified, and confirmed. The judge executive and fiscal court clerk of the lessee are hereby authorized to execute the lease, together with such other agreements or certifications which may be necessary to accomplish the transaction contemplated by the lease. Section 2, General Obligation Pledge. Pursuant to the Constitution of the Commonwealth and Chapter 66 of the Kentucky Revised Statutes as amended, the General Obligation Statutes, the obligation of the lessee created by the lease shall be a full general obligation of the lessee, and for the prompt payment of the lease payments, the full faith, credit, and revenue of the lessee are hereby pledged. During the period the lease is outstanding, there shall be, and there hereby is levied on all the taxable property in the lessee, in addition to all other taxes, without limitation as to rate, a direct tax annually in an amount sufficient to pay the lease payments on the lease when and as due, it being hereby found and determined that the current tax rates are within all applicable limitations. Said tax shall be and is hereby ordered, computed, certified, levied, and extended upon the tax duplicate and collected by the same officers in the same manner and at the same time that taxes for general purposes for each of said years are certified, extended, and collected. Said tax shall be placed before and in preference to all other items and for the full amount thereof, provided, however, that in each year, to the extent that the other taxes of the lessee are available for the payment of the lease payments and are appropriated for such purpose, the amount of such direct tax upon all of the taxable property in the lessee shall be reduced by the amount of such other taxes so available and appropriated. There is hereby established, or it is acknowledged, that there has heretofore been established with the lessee a sinking fund, the sinking fund. The funds derived from said tax levy hereby required, or other available taxes, shall be placed in the sinking fund, and together with interest collected on the same, are irrevocably pledged for the payment of all obligations issued under the general obligation statutes and all tax-supported leases, as defined in the general obligation statutes, including the lease herein authorized, when and as the same fall due. Amounts shall be transferred from the sinking fund to the lessor at the times and in the amounts required by the lease. Section 3, Severability. And if any section, paragraph, or provision of this ordinance shall be held to be invalid or unenforceable for any reason, the invalidity or unenforceability of such section, paragraph, or provision shall not affect any of the remaining provisions of this ordinance. Section 4, Open Meetings Law. This governing body hereby finds and determines that all formal actions relative to the adoption of this ordinance were taken in an open meeting of this governing body, and that all deliberations of this governing body and of its committees, if any, which resulted in formal action, were in meetings open to the public in full compliance with applicable legal requirements. Section 5, Conflicts. All ordinances, resolutions, orders, or parts thereof in conflict with the provisions of this ordinance are, to the extent of such conflict, hereby repealed, and the provisions of this ordinance shall prevail and be given effect. Section 6, Effective Date. This ordinance shall take effect from and after its passage and publication of a summary thereof as provided by law. Introduced, seconded, and adopted at a duly convened meeting of the governing body held on blank day, after first reading held on blank day, signed by the judge executive of the lessee, attested by the fiscal court clerk, filed and indexed as provided by law.
That's just a first reading, Judge. We don't have to take any action.
Okay,
Yeah, no action.
all right. Any more?
That's all I had.
All right. Commissioners and directors' comments. Jackie Darrell?
Yes, a few there. I want to say thanks to Herbie. I appreciate his words because I've been out in the community and explained to different people. You know, it's in life, it's not what's true, it's perception of truth. And one problem maybe we didn't do because we was trying to run a tight ship, the court did, is in the past they've had a PR man telling a story. And somebody needs to tell the story of the good, because sure enough, those out there will tell the bad or what they see as bad. And some people aren't interested in the truth. They just want to, in my viewpoint, sell a paper and create a drama story. As I listened to him in a talk the other night at the forum, the newspaper man, the way he presented the deal, you know, so terrible that we were waiting till next year to take the trucks down. Well, little did they know that we made that same decision a year and a half ago, and we took them down in the fall. But Lady Luck did fall in her corner that time because they had that hurricane in Texas and Florida, and we got more money out of them in the fall than we did in the spring. And we didn't quite know that. But now as you look at the situation, it's very prudent to do what you guys are doing because we've seen this devastating flood to the people in Florida. And I believe for those people, but at the same time in the business world, taking those trucks now and selling them, there's many contractors that need those trucks, and they should bring a better price. So it's a very prudent decision you are making. And I just wish people would analyze stuff. And if we'd had somebody telling the story, we've got a lot of positive things this court's done. I think we've managed money. Yes, we've had less money to deal with, but what we've had to deal with, we've dealt with it pretty good. And there's been some problems, and every government body you have a few. But handling things in a prudent way, sometimes, you know, I've lost a few customers in my area where I've done some things that they thought should be done. But if it's not concerning the roads, you know, I think we need to do what's proper. And I see that in all of us commissioners, solid waste, construction maintenance. We've all managed the money the best we could because we out there in the field every day. And I just want to give a big heads up to the boys in the county as a little further discussion on mine and Hillman's talk there ago. We fixed that Bear Fork Road by that evening, but that evening rain came again a little while later and washed the drain out. And anyway, we had to wait till we was working in the night, but they had to wait to daylight hours because you don't want nobody hurt trying to work in the night. And I just want to explain that a little further, and we got completely under control the next day again. And another thing, I got a call from YMTV and his on Facebook, and again, people sometimes are not aware of the facts. There's a road down in Lower Brushy called McCoy Road. One gentleman, he decided to live up in that hollow, and he's the last house. And as I researched, I was going to try to help him. There's only one McCoy Road. He's telling me it's in the system, but there's only one in Belfry area. So he's not in the system, and he's got kids. He has to walk down the hollow, and I feel for him, and no bridge for the creek. But dealing within the law, he chose to live in the holler, and he likes isolation. But we can't go up there as a county entity and do work because it's not in the road system. And they got on Facebook on that and called YMTV. So I wanted maybe the people out there to see that's nothing in neglect that we're doing. It's just something we're not allowed to do. And he chose to live up in the holler by himself. And he took on the inconveniences of the deal. And I want to praise the men for working late Friday up into the dark and going out Saturday, which our crews have lots to do, and they had plans on other things, but they dropped their plans on other things and took care of the needs of the public. And I want to give these boys credit and praise for that.
Paul, you have anything? Bobby? Yeah, dealing with I called this morning again because I know there'd be a topic come up, and I'd called last week, might have been week before last when I talked to Mountain Enterprise, because we got several roads throughout the county that we need done. So as I talked to them the first time, said it'd been 3 weeks. Then a little bit later, I called them, said 2 weeks. Then I called this morning, and I'm finding out they took on some more state work, a bigger job, more money, I guess. And the weather has been rainy some for
this time of the year is very unusual for the rain this much. It's almost like April. But he told me today that he'd be another 2 weeks. And he says, you know, he couldn't get it in for the next, you know, little while. He thought I was talking about politics. I said, I ain't worried about politics. I'm worried about getting the people in and out and getting the roads fixed for cold weather. And he said he would get it done.
Jackie, you know, if you don't get it done before it starts snowing and cold, it won't stick.
Oh, yeah, I told him.
We run into this every year. Last year, they run us right up to the line and said we can't get it to April. That's what I told him. I said, I'm a paving man. I've done hardtop for 26 years, and if it's cold weather, it don't want to do a good job, and you just can't do as good a job. And hopefully the weather stays warm for a while, but we don't know that. And if it's a typical year, some of this ain't going to get done, but we're at their mercy in a way because they're the only entity, and they do good work. Now, I got to say that when they do the work, they do it good. They sweep it. They put a tack down on it, and that's one of the things we shouldn't have done years ago. I got to give Paul Patton credit for that. He got a sweeper and a tack machine, and they had it, and another administration sold that equipment off. But we're at their mercy, and they said 2 weeks. I was telling them, anyway, try to increase that because we had a lot of work to be done, and we'd like to use them to do it. And because when it gets too cold, you just can't do the job good.
Judge, I mentioned once before about our old vacuum truck that was going down, or did go down at the landfill, and Paul, he also uses this truck. We share it, like he's pumping septic systems and so forth. So we've been looking for a truck. We haven't had a whole lot of luck. We found one up in Orange, Virginia, which is a 01 International. It's a tandem. It has 70,000 miles on it. Looks like a pretty good truck, but we don't know a whole lot about it. We would need to send somebody from the maintenance garage or somewhere to go and look at it and see if it's something that we could use. The price on it is $32,500, and of course, you know, J.C. Ratliff's got one somewhere around $47,000, $48,000, which is quite a bit of difference in price. But his truck's been looked at, and it's in good condition and everything, and it's a Mack. I guess what I'm asking you to do, just give us permission to go and look at these trucks and check them out and send somebody that can go and kind of inspect them. Then we'll come up with something and bring it back to the court.
Bob, what about the truck? It's got the hole in the tank. Can't we put another tank on that truck and hit a late model Mack?
The truck that's down, the old truck, they say it's not worth repairing. Even it's got the engine's blown.
What year is it?
I don't know what model that old truck is. 90s, in the 90s, but the engine's blowed in the head. And
so they blowed the engine up when they knocked the hole in the tank. It all went down at the same time, huh? I'm talking about the one that had the hole that come in the tank. Huh? So it makes you two now? We bought one, didn't we?
One, the motor blowed up.
So you put a tank on the one that the tank had a hole in it?
Yes. But Paul's already had to hire somebody to vacuum septic for him. Yes. Yeah. So. One truck that he got. Well, just in the past 7 days, we've hauled 73,000 gallon, and on a 5-day work week, that's 14,600 gallon a day that we've been transporting over to the wastewater over here. I mean, we got to have it, and then one truck won't keep up with it. It just won't do it.
Where's the truck located?
This one truck's in Orange, Virginia.
Harmon, Virginia?
Yeah, Orange. Orange.
Orange, O-R-A-N-G-E.
Orange?
Yeah, yeah. It's,
I lived in Virginia, I never heard
I
of it.
see it is 247 mile from here.
How much?
247.
And how much money do they want?
Pardon?
32.5.
It's got 70,000 mile on it.
70,000.
70,000 mile on it, and then the price is 32,500.
That seems reasonable for the
Yeah.
truck.
Yeah.
Have they checked down state?
You got a tank on it?
Yes.
Can you get-
We haven't really called them, talked about it much in detail, but it looks like about 2,500 gallon tank is what I'm estimating it to be. I don't know.
Can you get the supervisor of the shop over there to go check it out?
Yeah, that's what I want, is the court give us permission to let them go check it out.
Go do it.
Okay, that's what I'm asking for.
We need a motion on that.
No.
No, okay.
Okay, so
All
it's
right.
okay to send them.
All right. You have anything?
Bobby, I know it's not your fault, and I hate if you think I'm picking on you. But it seems like every court meeting that we come to, we've got to spend big money on that landfill over there to keep it going. And I don't know where the end is at. Is the guy you got hard, is he helping you out any getting it?
He's helping out a lot, him, and just like Herbie was talking earlier, you know, that this county's providing a landfill, and that landfill has come at a huge cost, and it will continue to cost. There's more things in the future that's got to be done in the near future. We got to drill some gas wells in the landfill. You're looking at $300,000 just to do that, just to drill about 3 wells, and we got to do that by law, and so it's every time you turn around, so it's costing a big lot, and that's something taxpayers needs to understand. In order for this county government to provide a landfill and the solid waste services, it comes at a huge expense, and it's not just pennies. It's
You know, we might need to look at handing down some of that expense to some of these contractors that's hauling it in there at our expense. You know, the next court might need to look at that, increasing the tipping fee a little bit to offset some of it, because we're on the short end of the stick, sounds like. You know, we're putting in all the money, and they're making the money off the garbage. I don't know how many contractors we got hauling in over there right now, but we've not raised their tipping fees in how many years?
Well, the tipping fees was raised in, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. We raised them to $45.50 a ton. They was $33.50, so we raised them that much.
I know we raised the people that have their garbage picked up about every year, ain't we? And then, you know, we've not given them the
it's been
contractors. Didn't you raise it last year?
No, not last year. Year before last, it was raised to $17.50 from $14.50. But we seem to be doing pretty good on the collection part. It's just the expense. That landfill is what's killing us.
You getting your water and mud under control?
Yeah, that's under control.
Say Charles is helping us get lined out.
Charles is working close with Frankfurt, and we had to have a remedial action plan put together. He's put that all together, and he has to correspond with them just about on a weekly basis and answering their questions and writing all this stuff out in written form. And he's been doing that. And also, he had applied for that grant for radioactive material. We talked about that. He applied that through, who was that? That's through Big Sandy Ad, and that was approved. That was about $35,000, $36,000, somewhere along there. So Charles is helping out a lot, and he's been very, very helpful.
Want to give an update on the road at Pompey. They got their spoil sites cleaned and grubbed and all their silt controls and stuff on them, and they've hauled some material to them. They've been hauling probably about 2 weeks now. Weather keeps them a little bit, turn the road up that's already on grade and everything, so but they've been a-hauling. The high wall, is pretty well, probably be done this week, the chipping on it, getting it down to where the road base needs to be, and that's where they'll start on that next. Getting the road on the grade and chipping it down to where it needs to be. And then, they said that probably by the 1st of November, they'd have all their precast head walls and their catch basins and everything in. And so they'd be starting on them probably next month, putting them stuff in. It's moving along. They seem to be.
See it.
Good to see it.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Hey, Pam, you have anything? You? All right. County Attorney's report. Kyle?
Nothing to report, Your Honor.
All right. Pike County Judge Executive comments. I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson. Magistrate Hampton.
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy. Magistrate Robinson. Yes. Magistrate Dodson. Yes. Magistrate Varney.
Yes.
Judge Dixon.
Yes.